The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show was originally broadcast on November 23rd, 2021.
Aloha and welcome, Maui, to the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show, sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. I'm your host, Pamela Tumpot, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and today we're going to speak with Council Member Tasha about affordable housing and rentals, what the county can do to quickly move forward with getting more units built, her top priorities for moving our county positively forward and creating a better quality of life for future generations, and discuss skilled workforce training programs. We're going to hear from the SBA's dynamic duo to learn about last week's visit to Molokai and Maui. And we're going to speak to a business owner whose pure love, passion, and aloha is poured into every can of their product. But first, it's my great pleasure to welcome Council Member Tasha Kama. She was elected to the Maui County Council for the Kahului residency seat in 2018. She is currently the presiding officer pro tempore and chair of the Human Concerns and Parks Committee. She is also the vice chair of the Infrastructure and Transportation Committee and has been somebody who has worked tirelessly, as I know you all know, on affordable housing and rentals. Good morning, Councilmember Kama. I'm so glad to have you with us this morning.
Good morning, Pam, and thank you for the invitation to come and talk story with you this early in the morning about the things that are closest to my heart.
Well, I know you are one dynamic woman working so hard for us all, and thank you for joining us early in the morning. We really appreciate it. You know, one of your key passions has been, and you've said it from the day I first met you, is affordable housing and rentals. I just wanted to kind of check in, because this is so important to you as well as the Chamber and to our community. How do you feel we can quickly move forward with getting more units in the pipeline and built? There's been a lot of discussion and a new plan, but now how do we start getting those units in the pipeline and actually constructed?
Well, my sense of things, and I just want to make sure everyone understands that I am one of 9 members on a council. And although I have thoughts and ideas and senses about, I always do things directly from my heart, because I think that's where I get most of my unctions from. So I'm one of 9. But I think one of the things that really hinders development is infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So every development needs water. Every development needs wastewater treatment.
Right.
So if a development does not have either one of those two, then they either have to develop that water source themselves, or they have to build that wastewater treatment plant themselves, or however they can do it. But those are the two things, for me, I think kind of is a barrier to putting more developments on there. My sense is if the county itself did that infrastructure, then we could be able to say to a developer, we think this is a great place for you to put housing, and because the county will put in the roads and the sewer and the water, all you need to do is go there, build the complex, the program, whatever the project, and all they would have to do is build that facility. And that would bring prices of rentals and prices of home ownership down for our local people. But then that's just my sense of what really is the high-end cost in development is the infrastructure. And I've always said that I believe that our county should do that, and we can do it. We have financially, we have good credit ratings, and we should use that bond ratings that we have to put the infrastructure so that we can get more housing built for our people and improve their quality of life.
I hear you, and that is so important. When we talk to developers and when we talk to the County Department of Housing and Human Concerns and we look at some of the areas where housing is possible or there were projects that were planned that didn't move forward, most times, not always, but a great deal of the time, the issue is exactly that. It's the necessary infrastructure and the high cost of getting that in, and looking at ways to leverage that because, as we've seen in the early days of the visitor industry, as they were building that industry, they put in a lot of infrastructure, which then later contributed to other both business growth and housing developments. And so, that it just, you're right, it seems to be a key thing that constantly comes up.
And one of the things that makes the Department of Hawaiian Homeland successful for the beneficiaries is that the department puts in all the infrastructure. They put in the roads, they put in the sidewalks, they even have to provide the water, and they also provide the wastewater. In many times, at least in the upcountry area, because they're not connected to any sewer, all the homesteaders up there have to put in septic tanks.
Right.
If you are close to like Waihuko, Pakukalo, they're right there, and so therefore they're hooked up to the county's sewer lines. So for me, if the department has a lot of good and bads about it, and we've all heard about it, but there are some things that they actually do right, and providing the infrastructure so that the homeowner, should the homeowner decide that they want to put up their own home and they build it, they can do that in certain areas. And if the developer decides that, they're going to build a house and the homesteader gets to just buy the house outright, and that's okay too, and it meets with them. But at least it meets the needs of the people, and people who want to build their own houses can do that. If people want to just have a contractor do that, they can. Or if the department decides to go with a particular developer, and the developer builds all the homes, and the people just pick one and buy it outright, that works too. But I think options sometimes is always a good idea for people, because the Hawaiian people, not everybody can buy a $600,000 home. So you have Habitat for Humanity that goes in and help. You have the self-help housing. There's a variety of ways that has been successful in the Hawaiian homelands. And in many ways, I think if the county, looked at that and said, oh, maybe we could do that too, at least it gives our people options.
I think that's really important. And I know, as an example, Habitat's been testifying quite a lot on some of the bills that are coming forward, as people like Lokahi Pacific. And, it's to me, it's really important in testimony when we're looking at how to get units built. It's really important to look at those nonprofits that are Hale Maho'olo and others that are really doing amazing things to get units actually completed, and understand what they go through and what they think works and what doesn't work.
You're absolutely correct. And all the nonprofits who are working out there in the housing industry are doing it. And they're nonprofits, so they're not making money off the project. All they're doing is breaking even most of the time. And that's why it's important for us as a county to support our nonprofit home builders or, rental projects, because they do serve the needs of our community, and they actually serve the population of greatest need.
Right. They're doing an awesome job. We want to support them.
Yes, they are. Yes, we do. We really, really do, however we can. And you're correct. We should continue to do that.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate your perspective on this, because I know it's something that's near and dear to your heart, and you've been looking at this for a long time and looking at ways on how to move it forward. The other thing that we're looking at in these times, coming through COVID, and, a changing dynamics and a changing economy and, and changing priorities. What are you looking at in terms of how we can positively move the county forward to create a better Maui County and quality of life for future generations? What do you see as the most important things, given what we've gone through and given where we could go?
When we talk about quality of life, we think, what does a person or a family need to be able to have that quality of life, right?
Yes.
Which is usually shelter, food, clothing, education, and then a job, right?
Yes.
But a wage that allows them to live here in their home for generations.
Right.
And what we're seeing is many of our people are out migrating because it is too difficult to live here, and they see brighter opportunities for them someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I really believe that our county needs to do, and we talk about this all the time, right, is to be able to have the diversification of our economy. And we talk about this all the time, but we say, okay, so what is that?
Right.
What is that other economy? And so we talk about agriculture, we talk about the film industry, we talk about the tech, right, bringing high-tech jobs here because people can work remotely. But, as we talk about these things in our little groups or among our families or, among our peers, but the conversations are kind of like bits and pieces all over our county. So my sense is, I haven't talked to the mayor, but I've hinted to him a couple of times that it would be so neat if we could have a community discussion on what that new economy looks like. We have an idea. Some people have more than one. But I think if we put it together and we had this public discourse on economic development, I think we could come out with something that really could help our county move forward. If everybody in the county is on the same page and we're moving forward collectively together, then we'll probably arrive at our destination. It's like being in a canoe, right? We talk about ourselves as being in this canoe.
Right.
Well, we are in a canoe, but I don't know if we're all paddling in the same direction because it seems like we're just going around in circles. So it tells me, one, we need to make sure that we all know what direction we're facing, and we all are looking at that direction and all paddling that same direction. And that's what I look at when I think about our economy, is that, we've got bits and pieces of conversations going on, but we don't have a really full-fledged community discussion about moving our economy forward. Because if we want to give our people the quality of life that they deserve, then we have to make sure that they're housed, we have to make sure that we have education for them, and have to make sure that they have jobs that they can actually live, here in Hawaii or in Maui.
It's so true, and we had Senator Kochi on the last week, I believe, and again, each year at the legislature too, we talk about minimum wage, and then of course the difference between a minimum wage and a living wage, and looking at the inputs to a living wage. So many of those inputs also are under government's control. When we talk, again, if we have limited housing, the cost of housing is going to be higher. If we have infrastructure, we have more, that is aging and wearing, we have more wear and tear on our vehicles. If we,
Absolutely.
If we don't do alternate energy and other mechanisms, our fuel, our gas, and our electricity for our businesses and homes is higher. And, so all of these things get rolled up when we're talking about a living wage. And, and so economic development is also a great umbrella, as you point out. As we look at our economic development, we look at what we want, the type of industries we want to attract that pay higher wages and more of a living wage. We want to look at that. And of course, this legislative session, too, as we've done in the past, the Chamber is always looking at as well as what are some of the other inputs? And this primarily generally falls on state government, not county government, but what are some of the other inputs that our state government can look at to help bring down costs so that, we get people to more of a living wage as we build up and develop new, economic engines and a more of a diverse
You're correct. You're right. And I think sometimes our constituents don't necessarily know what jurisdiction the county has.
Yes.
And and the state and the federal government. And so I'm always cognizant of what's within my realm. and what's in the realm of our state and what's in the realm of our federal government. But not to say that you couldn't give a call to your state rep or your senator or even our congressional delegates and talk to them about issues that are impacting our residents here and putting a bug in their ear about what it is that we are in need of. And I have discussions with our state reps quarterly, and I have one today, because I think it's important for us to keep the conversations going about things that are within our jurisdiction and things that we think, they need to hear about what's going on in our county, because sometimes they don't always get that, from the county perspective. But having conversations with them helps them to understand, and helps us to understand, too, where the state legislature is at, especially those who represent us, at the ledge. So I'm happy always to meet with my my representative and my senator on a regular basis, and we have good conversations, and it's helpful and it's needful for us to understand, because sometimes it's so easy to throw stones at our legislators, but we have to understand, that they're in almost the same predicament as we are too.
That they're fighting hard for us and understand what they're going through as well. Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
And just for those listening, this is the time. Legislative session starts back again in January. We're already in November. Mm-hmm. So if you have issues for your Maui legislators, you can just go to the Capitol website. You can find a list of the legislators and their contact information. Share with them, your priorities, and help them understand the things that are going on in your area of our county. And share with them how you feel they can help, and learn from them on what they may already be doing to try and help, and maybe how you can help them help you. So there's a lot of ways to get involved, as well as testimony in front of the county council is another great way to get involved.
Absolutely.
And that kind of leads to something else that you're passionate about, and it's a great way to be educated, as well as if you testify, before the county council or sit in and listen and learn from the meetings. But you're really passionate about creating a skilled workforce and having trainings available for people so they can increase and upgrade their skills and enhance opportunities and earning potential. What do you think is needed for us to, in this new realm, again, we're seeing more distance learning, but how can we sort of jettison this forward? Because with this new technology trend, now there is a big push, and as we look at economic development, a big push for getting that skilled workforce. And again, if we want higher paying jobs, we're going to have to help many people get ready for that. So how do we go about that kind of training? Where do you see new opportunities for our residents, or what programs can we maybe enhance or expand or model after something else that you've seen?
Well, I sit on the board of MEO, and within MEO oversees a myriad of programs and projects.
Yes,
I think maybe 30, 35 of them. And one of the programs that really touches my heart is their Core 4 program.
Yes. And
it's a program where they bring people who want to start a business, and they take them through this whole, I think it's six months of just education, classroom training, and then they help them to develop a work plan or a business plan to decide, at the end of their training that this is exactly what they want to do. And they help steer them and lead them and guide them from the beginning to the very end when they're actually doing their business. And so I love that program. I think just this past graduating class, they graduated, I can't remember how many young people graduated, but I was so proud, to hear that young people are going into business for themselves, and they're saying, I think I can do this. But with the extra help from the Core 4 program, oh my gosh, it's a winner program, at least for me. But also, even the county, they have the economic development with Linda Popolo, and her purpose is to be able to strengthen our economy, right? And she does that in such a great way too. training programs, job fairs, looking for grants to be able to bring more people, to create more jobs and stuff like that. It's like, I am impressed, totally impressed with these two organizations, our county as well as the MEO nonprofit.
Yeah, our Linda is doing amazing work in workforce development and getting people in training programs. And I also understand that for that last Core 4 class where they graduated, you contributed a prize to create a contest for the best business plan.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. I however we can incentivize our people to believe in themselves. I mean, I think people believe in themselves, but I think they need to know that other people believe in them too.
Yes.
I'm a great believer in, because I have a spiritual faith, but I also believe in our people, and I believe that they can. They just need a little bit of help, and that's what I wanted to do as the Core 4 program, is to just give them a little help that they need so that they can take off. And that's what happens. So I'm going to continue to do that. And I think we need to, I think the more that we put into that, the better chances our people will have for that quality of life for themselves.
I agree. And I think that outside, as you point out, that outside validation, when somebody else says, I believe in you, and that you can do it, especially for entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur, you have this idea, and of course you get a lot of no's and a lot of people saying, I don't know if this will work, questioning, and it's a tough haul. And you also need valid and really good feedback. But to know that you won a contest and that you've had that, and I understand that there were other awards as well, because you inspired that, which was really awesome. But, that sort of third-party validation, outside of family and friends who love you dearly and somebody else saying, hey, you did an awesome job. Really appreciate that. Yeah. Yep. Well, Councilmember Kama, I have loved having you on the show this morning. Thank you so much for your time and your tireless effort to make our community a better place. I cherish you, and I really appreciate all that you do for our community.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the opportunity to share my heart with you all and our listening public. And I do appreciate you and all the work you all do. And, even for this radio program, I think it's absolutely wonderful because it gives us hope. And if anything, that's what helps us through the rough times that we are all going through at this time of this pandemic. So thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you, too. It's our pleasure. Thank you, and have a beautiful Maui day.
And you also. Thank you.
Thank you. Aloha. We'll be right back after a brief message by our sponsor, Mokulele Airlines.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
And we're back. If you're just tuning in, this is Business Matters, brought to you by the Maui Chamber of Commerce. We are so pleased right now to welcome what I call the SBA's dynamic duo, Hazel Beck, the Deputy District Director, and Valerie Kubota, the Outreach and Marketing Specialist for the Hawaii Pacific Islands District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration. They're located on Oahu, but we're going to share how they are coming out and serving all of the islands in our Hawaiian Islands chain. Aloha, ladies, and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Aloha.
Aloha. I'm so glad to have you both on. So Hazel, just so people can understand which voice is which, Hazel, give us a big aloha again.
Aloha, everyone.
And Valerie?
Aloha and good morning, everybody.
Wonderful. Just as they hear the voices, I want them to get to know who's talking. Last week, we shared that you were coming to Maui, and the Chamber was helping to set up a bunch of appointments. And I know you met with a lot of companies, but also before you came to Maui, you went to Molokai as well. So I'd love for you two ladies to share about your experiences and meeting with small businesses on Maui and Molokai.
Thank you so much, Pam, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Hazel.
Thanks. As you said, we have made a commitment to increase the services that we provide across the entire state of Hawaii, not just the island of Oahu. And to that end, Valerie and I and Mary Dale, another one of our colleagues here at the SBA, are going to be traveling to the neighbor islands once a quarter. So we started out on Molokai, and Pam, it was an action-packed day. Special shout-out to Barbara Heliniak. She's a business owner on Molokai, but she is also an economic development guru. If there's business going on Molokai, Barbara knows about it. So she met us at the airport, took us around, got to meet a bunch of small businesses around the island, got to meet Robert Stevenson, the president of the Molokai Chamber of Commerce. He's got a lot of events that he's planning to help the small business owners on Molokai get started again. And then we came over to Maui on the 18th and 19th, and let me just say, Pam, you kept us busy. We met up in Wailuku at your office there. We met with 15 people between us from 8 a.m. in the morning till noon. So we had lots of small businesses coming in and out that we were working with. We did a lender training at Central Pacific Bank with Mary Dale. We counseled two gentlemen who are looking to buy a small business. We ended up with the Maui Coffee Roasters. The next day we had 5 more counseling sessions. And then we got to tour Ocean Spirits. So that was fantastic.
We did.
I'd like to ask Val to jump in on Molokai. You know, we had an incredible visit at the middle school there.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it was just amazing, and so great to see what people are doing for the next generation and engaging them in different types of industry and work. So they have a great STEM and robotics instructor there, Kumu Ka'eo Kava'a, and he is doing an amazing job with these young students, and how he has his classroom set up, how they're working the school grounds to, make it, engaging for not only the school and the students, but the public, and also engaging and, making some great connections with, outside organizations as well, people in Korea. So, we could have stayed there half of the day, I think, Hazel, but so amazing.
Years ago, many years ago, we were writing an economic development grant. This is before there were any computers in the classrooms. And we were working countywide, and I have to say that it was surprising back then, and so thrilling, because the Molokai schools were really most eager, most ready, and most excited about moving into having computers in every classroom. Their teachers were, this was at a time when the teachers felt a little uncomfortable because they knew, in many cases, the kids knew more about computers than they did. And so it was sort of a role shift. But I remember working with the Molokai cohort, and it was just phenomenal back then to see them adapting and wanting to adopt the technology as quickly as possible. And to hear this update just thrills my soul, because clearly, if you're making connections with like Korea and you're reaching out from Molokai to Korea, I mean, how amazing is that? That's really spectacular.
Yes.
And so with some of the meetings that you had on Maui, I know you met with diverse businesses, which included, in many cases, some of our Made in Maui County Festival folks as well. And what were some of the things that you were hearing about their needs?
Yes, Pam, and again, thank you for setting up all of those appointments. Really all we had to do was show up, and, people just kept coming, like Hazel said, one after another. And
it was our pleasure.
Just like I said, at the middle school, we could just keep talking and learning more about their businesses. But, we had to be mindful of the time, and, but definitely, there are many different needs that the businesses are looking for. But one of the main things is whenever we go out or anytime we work with the communities, we always bring in our resource partners. And SBA has 4 resource partners. They're the Small Business Development Centers, which are in all the islands. There's the Women's Business Center, which is located in Honolulu. There's the Veterans Business Outreach Center. They're also in Honolulu, but they're with the University of Hilo. And we also have the SCORE counselors. So whenever we do any type of outreach or any type of training, we always involve our resource partners. So a lot of the small businesses, whether they're looking for financing, or looking for expansion, or even starting up a new business. A lot of times they need access to capital, and we always refer them to our resource partner to assist them to prepare their business plan. Because truly, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, they're so creative, they have the great ideas, but we always, point them to putting together a business plan, because that's like your roadmap. That's how it's going to, present to the banker or present to the finance. So, definitely our resource partners that they need access to. And particularly, I'm really excited that tomorrow we're going to be having a meeting with the foreign trade zone people here in Honolulu with some of the Moloka'i people there. So, to see how we can get that there. So, so many things. And, I know, Hazel, you talk to a lot of great people as well.
Oh, it was fantastic. It really was. It was such a great opportunity for us to be able to come out and connect with all those small businesses. Pam, again, thanks so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And just for our listening audience, I want to let you know that in working with these dynamic duo, I call them that, and you're going to understand why as you get to know them, because I said, how many appointments can I do? And they said, well, we could divide up and depending on the facility, and we can do them every half hour. And it was a get to know you meet and greet, but of course with these in-depth ladies and their knowledge to share the resources and the broad connections they have. And even in half-hour appointments, a lot got done. But what we were trying to do on these 2 days was maximize how many people we could get in to meet with the ladies without overdoing it. We did get to do some fun tours as well, because it's twofold. It's one, getting to meet and making connections between our local businesses and the SBA, and to meet the women who can really help champion, meet them and champion their causes through the SBA and help them understand and help them make the needed connections, as well as to, in cases, learn more in depth. And unfortunately, a couple of our people, as often happens with very small businesses, a couple of our people had appointments that they couldn't make or had to cancel out on. But if you're one of those people, or you're somebody who now is listening to this and thinks, oh my gosh, I missed this opportunity, call us at the chamber, because the ladies are going to come back.
Yes, we are.
And we're already talking about next steps. And so you can reach out to us at the Maui Chamber, as well as, and I'll have the ladies at the end of the segment share their contact information as well. But you can reach out to them directly as well. But the key thing is that this team, as well as the SBA overall, is really here to support our small businesses. And what we're getting now with them coming out quarterly is a heightened presence, the likes of which we haven't seen, at least in the last 15 years that I've been with the Maui Chamber of Commerce. So we're really excited about that. On that note, a key thing that everybody started to get to really know the SBA, if you didn't know the SBA before COVID, the PPP and EIDL loans really sort of heightened the SBA's presence and awareness for many businesses that maybe weren't aware of the SBA before. But you also offer a whole breadth of programs beyond those. Could you share a little bit more about some of your other programs?
Yes, sure, Pam. As you indicated, the SBA pre-COVID was probably the best kept secret on the face of the earth. People really didn't know that we are advocates for small businesses. And the PPP and the EIDL loans, almost everyone we talked to was extremely grateful for the assistance that those loan programs provided for them to see it through the other side and still have their doors open. The SBA also has additional programs. If some people during the COVID started to realize that they needed to buy their own building or build their own building because of some of the challenges they had with landlords.
Yes.
So the SBA has a program called the 504 program that actually helps you get yourself into your own building, buy equipment. Once you're in that building, you only have to occupy 51% of it if it's an existing building, which means you can rent out the rest, which means that rent that you take in for the rest of the building will basically pay your mortgage. So something to think about. The Garden Variety Business Loan Program is called the 7A, and those loans range up to $5 million. We also have microloan programs. So if you don't need $50,000 or less, if you don't need a lot of money for what you're trying to do, those programs might be a good fit for you as well. So, yes, that's primarily, it's been an interesting time because during this COVID, a lot of people rethought their business entirely. And as Val was indicating, a business plan is your roadmap. So a lot of businesses updated that business plan, and then last but not least, the pluses and the minuses of the way they were running the business fiscally certainly came to light under COVID. Many small business owners were not able to take advantage of the disaster loans because of the way they were keeping their books or not keeping their books.
That's a really good point. So, it's something we talk to everybody about is record keeping is so important. And, you always hear the stories of these small businesses who every year go in and dump the shoebox on to the accountant's desk. And the accountant, just goes, okay, now what am I supposed to do with this? But of course, and then of course it generally costs more when you do it that way too, versus some of the amazing tools today to help small businesses in the low cost way, at least keep up with the bookkeeping. But we definitely want to encourage that. And one of the other things I know that you folks were talking about too, because I got to hear some of the conversation, is again the importance of having a savings and a reserve for your business. It sure helps. And COVID was one of the most extreme examples we saw. I think back to 9/11 or the Great Recession. But we were still operating as a state. Our economic engine, the visitor industry, was still open back then, although highly challenged, of course. But this was a whole different wave of a disaster, the likes of which we haven't seen before. So again, in any disaster, but just in any general business plan, we always talk about having reserves. So that's really important. And the ladies were educating on that. And I have to thank you both so much because I always say when people say, "Hey, can you help introduce me to some businesses?" or I offer to do some tours, I always say, "How many hours can I have you for?" Because and you two win because you're like, "Well, we could do appointments every half hour," and I'm like, "Great, we'll fill appointments every half hour, no problem," because you've been the most generous with your time and so far win the award for packing in the most activities that we could crunch into 2 days. And I really appreciate your work because, it meant so much to these small businesses who came. Some of them were like, well, what do I have to prepare? Or you're not going to sell me on something, or this isn't some class I have to take. And I said, no, this is just about sharing your business, your goals, your dreams, some of the challenges you're facing, and let these ladies who have a wealth of knowledge share with you their expertise and leverage their connections to find out how you could best get some assistance moving forward. And really, everybody walked away having come up with new solutions and answers because of the two of you and the information you shared. And we deeply appreciate that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Thank you, Pam. You
bet. Well, and of course, as always, the segment always goes so quick. But we will have you on again, and I know you'll be back on Maui again. So we look forward to seeing you. But before you go, really quickly, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Go ahead, Val.
Okay, you can reach me. I'll just give a telephone number real quick. So it's 808-460-8968.
Awesome. All right, everybody. To reach Valerie or Hazel at the SBA 808-460-8968. If you're interested in an appointment when they're coming back to Maui, you can also call us at the Chamber of Commerce at 244-0081. We are happy to help and look forward to connecting you with the dynamic duo so they can help you jettison your business forward.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Pam.
Thank you, ladies. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Aloha. I just want to quickly remind everybody that if you have old computers, laptops, iPads, or technology that you're not using, please contact the Maui Chamber of Commerce. Our phone number again is 808-244-0081. Robin at the office will be happy to learn more about what you have. These pieces of equipment are going to a spectacular program from the Broadband Hui to help those who are gaining new workplace skills and getting computer skills and going through a digital literacy class who can't afford equipment on their own. It is going to be donated to them. So we wanted to let you know about that. In addition, we are pleased to let everybody know that the 8th annual Hawaiian Airlines Made in Maui County Festival, which was held November 6th, but the system crashed on the mainland and went down, and shopping went down, it is coming back. We are pleased that now Mayor Victorino and his team and the Parks Department is helping us. We are doing now a hybrid event on December 4th. The live portion of the hybrid event will be at the old soccer field by War Memorial, the grassy area. You might remember that as the place that you got your food during the county fair. We are going to have a live event from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on December 4th, with many of our vendors from this year's Made in Maui County Festival there, as well as they will have a virtual presence. So for those who are afar, either statewide, nationally, or internationally, that came in and wanted to shop, and the system was down, they too will be able to shop as well. So we're very excited about that. Hope everybody can attend. You can learn more at madeinmauicountyfestival.com. You can shop now. You can also shop there for what's coming up, which is a Shop Small Saturday this coming weekend after Thanksgiving. So please remember our local vendors who have phenomenal products made by local hands and hearts. They're going to be focusing on their wares this holiday season. You can find it at madeinmauicountyfestival.com, and we're going to have a rescheduled big festival day on December 4th. It's now my pleasure to welcome William, and he goes by Will Davis, who is the founder of Vitalitea Hawai'i. He has created Vitalitea Hawai'i, which came from his passion project and a search for adding balance to his homebrew lineup. Will sold the first keg of Vitalitea Kombucha commercially in 2015. Over the next few years, he spent any of his spare time creating flavors and developing the process to lay the groundwork for his now growing business. And Vitalitea is really something wonderful to taste. Aloha and good morning, Will, and welcome to the show.
Aloha, good morning, Pamela.
How are you today?
Doing great. Thank you. How about yourself?
I'm awesome. Thank you. So tell our listening audience a little bit more about how you got in started and this passion. What inspired this passion to start this business?
Well, I think you summed it up pretty well earlier. Yeah, I was as a hobby home brewer. I wanted to add some balance to my beer brewing lineup, and I was really interested in the hobby or in the art of kombucha. It was really intriguing, kind of a new product on the market, a new old product, I guess. So I spent some time learning how to do it, and then decided to make a business out of it.
Well, now a lot of people, I know what kombucha is, but I only learned a few years ago. Tell people, because you mentioned it's a new/old product, tell people what kombucha is and maybe some of the history about it.
It's really essentially a fermented tea, been around for over 2,000 years, I believe. Really don't have a lot of history on the origins of it, but for us, we use a proprietary blend of green and black tea, organic teas, and we ferment it with organic cane sugar, and we get a product that's effervescent, probiotic, has a lot of B vitamins in it, a lot of digestive enzymes, organic acids, liver detoxifying acids, and it's just an all-around energy-boosting health drink.
That's so interesting because, and when you say it's an energy boosting health drink, tell us a little bit more about how it assists your energy and some of the healthy benefits to it.
The B vitamin component of it really does a lot for that really good energy boosting kind of a bit of a euphoric feeling to it. The organic acids, glucuronic acids are liver detoxifiers. They're really good for gut health. The acetic acid produced in it, it's kind of like a apple cider vinegar effect to your gut. There's just so many good, just too many good properties to list about it, and they're all different with everybody's kombucha culture because it's a wild ferment.
That's interesting. So each product is unique to the people brewing it.
It certainly is, and the environment. For us, we're just blessed with good water and a nice healthy environment to brew in.
That is awesome. And it sounds like is it something that we can drink every single day?
It is. It's because it's a strong detoxifier. I mean, it really depends on your body. I drink it every day, and quite a bit of it. We keep it really low sugar. I'm a real big fan of low sugar products, so we ferment it out really dry, and it's a really low sugar product. And we use primarily green tea to keep the flavor profile super neutral, which allows us to just put a little bit of flavoring in there to influence it. It's less than 5% is actually our cold press juices, fruits, roots, and herbs that we put in there.
And tell us about, you mentioned the green tea and the low flavor profile, which allows you to flavor it. Tell us about the different flavors that you created.
Our flagship flavors that we produce right now, we do one called Restore, which uses local Maui Gold pineapple, Kauai-grown organic ginger and turmeric, and just a little dash of cayenne. That's definitely been our best seller. We do a flavor called Stardust, which uses organic hibiscus, Kauai-grown organic ginger, and blue spirulina. And then our other flagship is Strawberry Sunrise. We use organic strawberry and then Maui-grown mint and basil from Evanuck Farms. And for this time of year, and definitely featured for the Made in Maui County Festival, is our seasonal flavor Pearl, which we do in conjunction with the persimmon harvest through Hashimoto Persimmon Farm. So we feature that one with Hashimoto Farm persimmon, organic Fuji apple, and cinnamon. That one is just, it kind of comes through like a pear apple cider. It's just an amazing flavor.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so delicious, and I'm so glad to hear that you're incorporating Hashimoto Farms because
Absolutely.
Persimmons is a seasonal crop if you're not familiar with persimmons, and so it's wonderful that you can do that over the holiday season. And again, we're so glad that Vitalitea is a part of our 8th annual Hawaiian Airlines Made in Maui County Festival, and that you can learn more about their company's products and services and special merchandise, which I'm going to have you talk about, on the Made in Maui County Festival website and learn more about them on December 4th. But tell us about the merchandise that you've created as well.
So we've teamed up with Positive Apparel right here on island.
Johnny, yep.
Yeah, Johnny has set us up with, he's really been passionate about using the recycled materials for shirts. So we've teamed up with him, and we're featuring our first ever T-shirt swag lineup with all recycled material shirts. They're amazing shirts. The feel and the look is amazing, and he's done an amazing job with putting them together for us. So we're featuring those. We'll have a holiday bundle, which will feature our pearl flavor and a T-shirt. We've got some new hats we've just brought in from brewery branding, and we've got a bunch of other little miscellaneous like koozies and things we have to put together for this. So definitely the highlight, though, will be the pearl flavor.
I can't wait to taste it. That sounds so amazing. And so tell us a little bit about what your specials are this holiday season.
We'll have to visit the website for that one, but the specials for the actual prices, but we are putting together all some bundles, and they do involve a 12-pack of our seasonal pearl. We do have 12-packs that we're featuring. Everything's going to be at a nicely discounted price and a special bundle price for the Made in Maui County Festival. We did launch pearl at the original Made in Maui County Festival. That was our launch date for it. Unfortunately, we know the website was having a little bit of trouble, so we're absolutely excited to get a chance to do it in person this time.
Well, we are so thrilled that you can do it in person, and we definitely want to thank the mayor and the county for that. And thankfully also, our community, because as our COVID numbers came down, it was something that was allowable at this time when unfortunately, when we made the first decision on the date for the Made in Maui County Festival, it wasn't. But we're so grateful that people can find you there and live, and they can learn more about the product because you've got such an amazing lineup. Where can they also find you on social media and your website?
Absolutely. VitaliTeaHawaii.com, just spelled with TEA instead of TY. So VITALITEA Hawaii, one word, .com. And Instagram and Facebook as well, Vitality Hawaii is the handle.
Awesome.
Find us there. Our store finder on the website shows where you can actually find us in person, and all over Maui, Big Island, Oahu, Lanai, and also we're on the West Coast, up and down the West Coast, Southern California, Southern Nevada, and Arizona.
Will, thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but find him on December 4th. That's all the time we have today for Business Matters Radio Business Matters Radio Show, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines. I'm Pamela Timpot, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, wishing you blessings and best wishes for a beautiful Maui day.